So in order to determine whether the supply is a composite supply or mixed supply, one need to determine whether the supplies are naturally bonded or not naturally bonded in ordinary course of business. The concept of natural bonded supplies are emerging from the definition of composite supply. Composite supply. Composite supply means supply made by a taxable person to a recipient and composite of two or more taxable supplies of the goods and services of both are on the composite themselves. They are naturally bonded supplies and conjugate which are in the ordinary course of business. One of them is a principal supply section 2330. The means composite supply is a goods and service of both of the bundled bound to the natural supply as necessities. The element in the composite supplies are determined in the principal supply. Principal supply means supply of goods and service which constitute the predominant element of composite supply, and to which another supply forming part of the composite supply is auxiliary. Section 390. The work contract and restaurant service are classical example of composite supply, but the GST laws identifies both the supply and service. As the case may be discussed, Schedule 2 of GST Act and Chapter. Chargeability of specific rate of tax mentioned against each of the supplies of work contract and restaurant. However, in respect of the composite supplies, other than the two categories mentioned below, need to determine the supply of composite ones, which while arises so as to determine the appropriate classification such supplies or supply of goods or supply of service as may be appropriate rate of tax. It will be necessary to determine as to whether the particular supply is naturally bound in ordinary course of business or whether constitute a principal place of a composite supply. How to determine whether service are bundled in the ordinary course of business? Whether service is bundled in the ordinary course of business or not, whether depending upon the normal or frequently practices followed in the area of some business to which service is related. Some normal frequently practice adopted in the business can be ascertained from several indicate, some of them which are listed below. The presumption of the consumer and service recipient. If a large number of service recipient is bundled service recently accept such services to be provided as a package. Such package could be treated as normally bounded ordinary course of business. Example, mobile phone always sold to the battery. A majority of the service provided is particular area of business provides similar bundle of service. Bundle of service catering on the board of services transport of air and bundle offered by the majority of the airlines. And nature of various services bundled together. It also help us to determine whether the service is bundled in ordinary course of business with the nature of service, such as whether the one of service is main service and other service combined with other service or nature identical to auxiliary service, which helps the enjoyment of main service. But is treated as a several service bundled in ordinary course of business. Service or stay in a hotel is often combined with the provision of breakfast and dinner provided free of cost stay and stay. Stay service is auxiliary service with the provision of hotel accommodation and the resultant package would be treated as a service naturally bounded in ordinary course of business. Other illustrative condition, not determined but indicative of bundling services of ordinary course of business. So, a single price or there is a single price or a customer pays the same amount no matter how much the package he actually receive or use. The element is normally advertised as a package. Different elements are not available separately. Different elements are integral to one overall supply. If one is removed, the nature of supply would be affected. No straight jacket formula can be laid to determine whether the service is naturally bundled to the ordinary course of business. Each case has been individually examined in the drawback of several factors, some of which is outlined above. The above principle explain the light of which constitutes a natural bundle service can be gainfully adopted in determining whether the principle after the principle explained in the light of which constitutes a naturally bundled service can be gainfully adopted to determine whether the particular supply constitutes a composite supply under the GST. So it's whether the constitutes be principal supply so to determine the right classification of state of the composite supply. So, example of a composite supply is given below. The five-star hotels booked in the conference of 100 delegates on DLEJATs engaged on the lump sum package the following facilities: accommodation of delegates, breakfast for delegates, tea and coffee during the conference, access to a fitness room for delegates, availability of conference room, business center. As evidence, the bouquet of service being provided, many of them are chargeable. Bouquet BOUQUET was chargeable different effective rate of tax. The principal plus service convection services is able to capture the entire section of packages. Principal service may be charged in convention service and charged to pay a tax accordingly. Whether it is in truly justified that the hotel is charging individual of service as long as no attempt to offload the value of one service to another service chargeable in the suggested. Poshka manufacturer entered the contract of Chico Limited for supply of ready-made shirts packed to a designer box at a Chico Limited outlet. Further, the Poshco manufacturer would also get them insured during transit. In this case, supply of goods, package material, transport, and insurance is a composite public where supply of goods is a principal supply. When a consumer buys a television set and also he gets a mandatory the travel ticket from Delhi to Mumbai can be and supply of composite for example supply of TV principal supply warranty and maintenance services actual ancillary ANCILLARY. A ticket driver or travel ticket from Mumbai to Delhi may include service of food being served on board, free insurance, the use of airport long LOMGE. In the case, the transportation of passenger constitutes a predominant element of composite supply, as treated as a principal supply along with the supply of auxiliary. How to determine the tax liability on composite supply? Composite supply arising two or more supplies. One of them primary supply shall be treated as an a supply of principal supply. According to the entire value of composite supply, main supply plus ancillary supply ANCILLARY shall be classified under the category of main supply and shall be taxed on the GST rate applicable to main supply. This can be better understood with the help of following example. Retail computers laptop about 50,000 along with a laptop bag 3,000, consumer base 45,000. Being a naturally bundled, the supply of laptop bag along with the laptop is a consumer composite supply, which is treated as a supply of principal supply. Assuming the rate of the tax applicable to only a laptop 18% and laptop bag is 28%. In this case, the rate of principal supply is a laptop is able to charge the entire value at 55,000 at 18%. See, the following cases is clarify the issue of whether the supply given supply is composite supply or yes. The concept of the principal supply in the given printing and industry insurance. The printing industry is a particular phase and dilemma in determining whether the nature of supply provided as that goods or service. Another doubt was whether the case certain contract involves both supply and goods and service, whether the same would be constituted supply of goods or service. It would be a composite supply as a case that would be constitute the principal supplies. It is classified by supply of books, pamphlets, brochures, employees, annual reports, leaflets, carton boxes. This is printed into logo, design, name, address, and other content is supplement to the recipient of the printed goods. Composite supplies are questioned. However, such supplies constitute supply of goods and services would be determined on the basis of constitution of principal supply. In the case of printing of books, pamphlets, PMP, PHDTs, brochures, and annual reports, and unlike where only content is published or supplied by the publisher, or the person who owns usage rights to the intangible input, which is physical inputs, including papers used for printing, belong to the printer. A supplying printer. This concept is supplied by the recipient supply. It is a principal supply, whereas such supplies would be constitute supply of service. In the case of supply of printing envelopes, letter cards, and printed box, tissue, napkins, wallpapers, etc. by the printed using physical inputs, code papers to print this logo, design logo, and supplied by the recipient of goods. Predominant of the supply of goods. A supply of printing of content is supplied by the recipient as supplies ancillary to the principal. Food supplied to the patients. And food supplied to the inpatients advised by the doctors and nutrition in the composite supply, and the healthy care is not separately taxable. However, other supplies of food of the hospitals to the patients or admitted their attendance to visit taxable. Activities to body building. In the case of bus body building, there is supply of goods and service. These classified as a composite supply. Goods or service will be depends on the supply in the principal supply, which is determined by the basis of fact and circumstance in each case. A treating rethreading of tires. A rethreading of tires, a composite supply, is the predominant elements of processing for rethreading, which is supply of service. Rubber used in the rethreading is actually supplies. The supply of rethreaded tires, where the old tires belong to supplier, rethreaded tires are supply of goods. Belong to the supplier of rethreaded tires is supply of goods. The rethreaded tires are revamped tires in which the own of thread in case of tires which may be contract as surface of the road and replace a new thread. Mixed supplies. Mixed supplies means that two or more individual supplies of goods and service. Other combinations therefore made in conjunction with each other taxable person. Circle 11, 32, 34, 34. So it was 17, 18, 18. So okay. For a single price where the supply does not constitute composite supply, individual supplies are independent of each other or not naturally bundled. How to determine particular supply is a mixed supply. In order to identify if a particular supply is a mixed supply, the first requires to rule out that the supply is a composite supply. Supply can be mixed supply only if it is not a composite supply. As an corollary, corollary, it can be said that it's a transaction consists of supplies not naturally bundled in the ordinary course of business. Then the supply possibilities being mixed supply need to be checked. Once amenability AMENABALITY of transaction composite supplies rolled out as the single consideration is charged to the entire supply of different composite components. It will be treated as mixed supply, classified in terms of supply of goods and service attracted to the highest rate of tax. Supply of package consists of canned fruits, sweets, chocolates, cakes, and dry fruits, aerated drinks, and fruit juices which supplied a single price and mixed price of mixed supply. Each of the items can be supplied separately. It is not dependent on each other. It shall not be mixed supply if the items are supplied separately and separate price are charged. The shopkeeper sells stored water bottle along with a refrigerated single package refrigerator. And the bottles and refrigerator can be easily be priced and sold independently and are naturally bundled. So it's a price of mixed supply. The house is given rent where a single rented one floor which is being used as residence. Another house is in pressing printing press at a lump sum rent amount. Such printing of two different purposes is not naturally bundled in the ordinary course of business. Said supplies or mixed supplies. How to determine the tax liability of mixed supply? Mixed supply composed of two or more supplies can be treated as supply on a particular supply that attracts highest rate of tax. Srinagar Enterprises supplies 10,000 kits of rupees 50 amounting to 5 lakhs of Agava Central Store. Each kit consists of one face cream, one face tissue pack, one nail paint. It's a mixed supply and treated as an supply which particular supply which attracts the highest rate. Assuming that the rate of tax applicability in the face cream is 18%, the face tissue package is 28%, and the nail polish is 12%. In this case, the highest tax on the other is face tissue 28%. It will be charged in the entire value of 5 lakhs. More than one supply made together and taxed on individual rates. There, there can be also be case where the activity transaction involves more than one supply of goods and service or both, but neither they are composite supply nor can be categorized mixed supply. That is, all supplies carry independently significantly. In this case, it is if separate consideration is indicated against each supply, such supply should be charged in respective rate of supply to the particular supply. In the case of services of cars involves supplying of both goods and services. Goods are parts and services are labeled. There is a value of goods and service are shown separately. Goods and service will be liable to tax and the rate applicable to the goods and service separately 45. Let us recapitulate the taxable event of the under the goods under the GST. The scope of the supply of GST can be understood in terms of following parameter. Supply should be goods and service. Supply should be made for consideration. Supply should be made for course of personal services. While the parametrically concept of supply under certain circumstances, the transaction has been deemed to be supply even if the supply is made without consideration or without the course of other of business. The activity specified section 1 deemed to be supply even without consideration. Therefore, the import of service or consideration which are non quote and not in the course of continuance of business is treated as supply. Besides some specific transaction activities necessarily treated as supplies of goods and services. Furthermore, certain activities to be categorized in supply of goods and service. Discussion on respect of supply board categories following. Supply includes and excludes. While a parameter describe the concept of supply under certain circumstances, transaction would be deemed to be supply even if the supply is made without consideration, not in the course of further the business. The activity specified in schedule to deemed to be supply even without consideration. Further, the import of service and consideration without is not the course of furtherance of business or trade as supply. And besides, more specific transaction activities are neither treated as supply nor treated as services. Furthermore, certain activities to be considered in supplies and acquisition. Supply includes non-resident activities and transactions, neither as supplies of goods nor a supply of services. Supply includes supply consideration, costs of furtherance of business, supply between the person other than individual or in members or before payment or any valuation or consideration. Importation of the services of other consideration, whether or not the course of other business, supply without consideration, activity or transaction to be treated as supply of goods or supply of activities. Subsection 7, along with the read, along to be read. Now schedules and been summarized below. Supply for consideration course of others of business section 7 only. Supply includes sale, transfer, barter, exchange, license, rental, lease, disposal. For consideration course of others of business. Consideration in course of others business supply activity transaction between person other than individual members or constitutes variable consideration section 7 only. Activity transaction member of consideration person associate clubs and members of constituents. Importance. The importation of service from for consideration whether or not in course and furtherance of business. Section 7 on B. Supply should be course and furtherance of business. Exemption is said to be ruled in the imported services deemed to be supply even the same as being imported not in course of furtherance of business. Consideration import of service in course of furtherance of business or not is consideration. Supply without consideration deemed to be supply 7(1)(c) read to schedule 1. It includes all supplies made in taxable, non-taxable person even if the same is being without consideration. Just specifically mentioned Schedule 1 applies to CGST Act. As per Schedule 1, the following work supply made without consideration is treated as supply under Section 7. Permanent transfer, disposal of business act. Business asset, input tax credit, permanent transfer, disposal, deemed supply. Supply between related persons and distinct person. Supply between the related distinct person and one to person two is a supply of goods and service. Deemed supply in course and persons of business is a deemed supply. Employer to employee is less than 50,000 is not a supply. More than 50,000 is supply. A supply between employer, principal and agent. Deemed to be supply. Principal to agent supply to supply goods. Supply goods in behalf of the principal issued invoice to the customers often shown as a third person supply. Third person to agent, agent to principal. So agent receive the goods on behalf of the principal and receive invoice on his own name. Own name no is supply. Supply goods to the principal is also supply. It is a deemed supply. A person out of India, person in India. So rated persons, person outside India gives supply to India is a supply service deemed service in course and furtherance of business. The combined provision relating to the import of services stipulated under the subsection 7(1)(b), 7(1)(c), ready to schedule 1 can be deposited under this main diagram. Importation of services. Import of service without consideration, with consideration. Without consideration to other person, other cases not a supply. Related person, distinct person in course and further person is a supply. With consideration not in course of other submission, it's a supply in course and course or further and FUTHERENC furtherance of business it's supply. Activities or transaction to be treated as supply of goods and supply of service section 7(1)(e) regulation. Para activity transfer activity and transfer of title of goods or title of goods under the agreement that property shall pass in future date. Right of individual it's a goods and undivided share of the goods without transfer of the title with the services. Right to only transfer the goods without transfer of title. Transfer dividend share in a goods without transfer of title is services. Land and building, lease, tenancy, enhancement, license service, lease, tenant, let out, Building including commercial, industrial, residential complex of business and commerce partly all service. Treatment of process go to services apply to another person. Transfer of business asset goods from part of business asset is transferred disposed by another direction of person carried on the business or as long as small part of asset goods. Goods held under the business or put to private use or another thing service available to the person to use of the purpose of the other business and under the direction of the person carry on business. Goods formed part of an excess of forming part of assets or of a business carried on by a person who ceases to be taxable person shall be deemed to be supplied by him in the course of others of business immediately before the cease of taxable person. Exemption: the person transferred as a going concern business carried on by the person respective who is deemed to be a taxable person. Good. Renting of your property services, construction complex buildings, construction of complex building service, etc. Entire consideration received after the issuance of completion certificate or after the first occupation certificate, whichever was yearly, then it's not a service. It's cancel goods. Transfer of permitted using enjoyment of intellectual property service. Development, design, programming, customization, adaptation, upgradation, enhancement of implement IT software service, agreed obligation refined in the Act to tolerating of activation of the Act service, transfer right to use goods at service Act. The following compulsory supply of work contract service, supply of goods being food or any other activities of human consumption of drink services, non-supply of GST section 7 to A read with article section 3 where activities or transactions shall be treated neither as a supply of goods nor supply of services. Service to an employee to employ and course of further resolution to the employment. Service by any court or tribunal established by the law of time being service is exempted. Treated as neither a supply nor a supply. Function of a member of parliament, member of state legislation, parliament, member of panchayat, member of municipality, member of other locality, it's exempted. It's not a service, not a supply. Duties performed by any person who held any post in the purpose of construction in the capacity. In constitutional capacity, duties performed by any person, the chairman or members of director or the body established by the central government or state government or local authority who is not deemed to be an employee before commencement of class. This is not a service, neither service nor a good service of a funeral, burial, ceremonial, mortuary includes transportation of decrease is exempted. No sale of land subject to para 5 schedule 3 sale of building exempted. Actionable claim other than lottery betting gamble exempted. Supply of goods from place of non-taxable territory to another person non-taxable territory without such goods entering into India. Exempted. Supply of warehouse goods to another person before clearance of home exemption. Supply of goods for consignee to any other person by endorsement of document title of goods after the goods has been dispatched from point of origin located outside India but before clearance of home consumption is it's not a transfer. Exempted. Still doesn't complies with the source of supply. Activity transaction shall not either treated as supply of goods or not as services. Diagram is next page summarize the steps will determine whether this action has taken place up or not. Is this activity supplied including supply of goods and services such as day sale, transfer, barter, exchange, a license, rental or not? No, that is not activity is not supply. If yes, it is a consideration. No, it is activity specific under schedule 1. No, no, no. Yes, no, it's for host of other option. No, no, no. Yes, no, it's activity specific schedule 3. No, activity is not is a supply. The activity specific schedule 3. No, schedule 3 class 7B. Activity not no. So it's a consideration cost of others of business. No, is the importation of service. Importation of service. No, no, no. Is it import of service? No, no. Yes, no. Is activity specified in the service? No, no. Activity is not a supply. Yes, no. Okay. Composite and mixed supply. Laptop phone charges. So composite supply consists of two or more supplies naturally bundled. It is conjugating with each other, one of which principal supply tax liability shall be rate and principles. For example, charger supplied along with the mortgage. A mixed supply consists of two or more supplies not naturally binding through can be supplied independently, can be supplied together. Tax liability can be rate of applicable to the supply that is extra highest rate of tax. Example, gift bag compressor of chocolates, candies, sweets and balloons. Highest which is applicable. So learning how to gain a knowledge of importance of quality audit quality, understanding the importance quality control system in the form, clearing the grasp GRSP grasp like important of SQC1 and SA2 SA220. Apply in terms of audit engagement. After applying SQC1 and SA2 on a practical situation, understand the importance of ethical agreement, difference in SQC1 and SA220, understanding relationship SQC1 and SA220, knowing briefly about the mechanism of review of audit quality. Chapter 1, the quality audit SCUC1, SC20, quality control of audit of 200, SC210, quality of control of audit of financial statement, SQC1, quality control of firms that performs audit and review of historical financial information, and the assurance and related services of engagement. CA Jagatri is working in the forms of channel account capacity of paid employee. The firm consists of 7 partners and handling various types of professional work, including audits, the heavy load of professional work. As such, she handles few audit and clients. So the firm business is growing rapidly. Many few clients has been added. So the client base from 2-3 years. It's in hand side. She is thinking whether the proper part of the firm is accepting new clients. So checking everything about its background. Besides, if she feels that the firm is accepting audit from company which is engaged in the technical complex operation, the firm has no past experience in audit such as clients. The partners are seemingly stringently hiring experienced and capable staff to handle such work. In her mind, she always lamented about the same. Lamented about the same. And commercial consideration, deciding about the override factor she is brooding. Increasing volume of professional work with commensurate hiring capacity and more quality of the staff is leading to many labs. She is also handling the audit of listed companies. Audit is completed and the report issued and the annual report published. She found that audit report issued under the company's society about the profit financial statement. However, the audit financial statement reflected loss, and she developed the cold feet and caused a lack of proper quality control under the firm. Similar to other cases, she found that it issued audit report of the company referred cash flow statement, whereas audit financial statement does not comprise of cash flow statement as it is a small company within medium company society. She had made up the mind to get senior partner listen to her, inviting attention to such serious lapses of reporting. She politely told her that firm was inviting troubles for regulators. She underlining the need of proper effective quality control system to firm to ensure the work was carried out in accordance with the professional standard, applicable legal and regulatory frameworks so as to audit work is appropriate is issued. Quality audit. High quality audit is central of audit profession. It is helped us create trust in use of financial information. Industry, government, public at large, whose stakeholders who relies upon the assumptions given by auditors. It is therefore necessary to ensure high quality audit. Therefore, the audit purpose and audit quality involves application of rigorous audit process by the auditors and quality control procedure that complies with the laws or regulation applicable for our professional standards. SQC1, the quality control of firms that performs audit and review of historical financial information. Other assurance related to service engaging SE200 quality control of audit of financial statement deals with the issue of essential quality control systems and responsibility auditors regard both the standards deals with the framework of audit quality. SQC applies to all the engagement and deals with the quality of level of SA220 deals with the audit quality of individual audit engagement. Besides both standards, other standard of auditing code of ethics issued by ICA certain professional companies 2013 facilitate quality control process. There is also exists mechanism reviewing quality through peer audit reviewing quality control board of NFRA National Financial Reporting Authority. SQC the quality control of the firms that performs audit and review of historical financial information and other assurance and related services engagement. SQC1 requires a firm should establish a system of quality control designed provided to treasure reasonable assurance that firms and the person complies with the professional standards and regulated legal requirement. The firm reports issued by the firm's engaging partners are appropriate in circumstances. The firm system of quality control should consist of policies and designs to achieve these objectives. These quality control standards applies to all the firms irrespective of the constitution CONSTITUTION element of quality system of quality control. The firm quality control should include policies and procedures addressing each of the following: leadership responsibility for quality within the firm, leadership responsibility, ethical requirement, acceptance and continuance of client relationship, specific engagement, human resources, engage and performance monitoring. The quality control procedures should be documented and communicated to the firm's person. By communicating the firm, recognizing important of obtaining feedback on the quality system and lesson. Therefore, the firm engage in personnel to communicate the view of concerns and high quality matters. Leadership responsibility, quality control, ethical requirement, acceptance, continuance of clients' relationship, specific clients, human resources, engagement, performance monitoring, and management of quality of controls. Leadership responsibility of the quality within the firm. SQC requires the firms to establish policies and procedures designed to promote internal culture based on the recognition of the quality and establishing performance engagement. Such policies and procedures should require the firm chief executive officer of the firm and managing directors to assurance ultimate responsibility of the firm systems and quality control. Examples set by the firm leadership assurance, the internal control, internal culture that recognize high quality audit. For further, a person assigned operational responsibility that firm quality control systems of the firm's chief executive officer or managing partner should have sufficient and appropriate experience, ability, and necessary authority to assume the responsibility. It has been laid down clearly that the firm business strategies are subject to the override requirement of the firm's to achieve quality in all engagement firm performers. Essentially, implies that audit quality is a paramount of our engagement. It's non-negotiable. It's regarding it should be engaged. The firm assesses the management responsibility so that commercial consideration do not override the quality of the work performed. The firm policy procedures addressing performance evaluation, compensation, and promotion, including incentive system, with regard of personnel, are designed to develop demonstrate the firm's overriding commitment to quality. The firm devote sufficient resources to development, documentation, support of the quality control policies and procedures. Test of hmm, ethical requirement. Firm should establish policies and procedures designed to provide reasonable assurance that the firm and the person comply with relevant ethical requirements obtained by the Code of Ethics of ICA. The code establishes fundamental principles of professional ethics, which include integrity, objectivity, professional competence, of due care, confidentiality, and professional behavior. Fundamental principles have been emphasized by action of the leadership of the firm, spreading awareness of the training, monitoring, processing deals of non-compliance, observance of independence, all engagement, accounting, and payment. The firm should establish policies and procedures designed to provide reasonable assurance of firm. It is a person and thinking export contracted the firm and network of the persons. Maintain independence which can require a code. Such policies and procedures should be enabled to firm. Communicate its independent requirement to spouse, identify the evaluate the circumstances relationship, create the threats to the independence, and take appropriate action to eliminate the threats, reduce them to acceptable level by accepting safeguards, applying safeguards. It is considered appropriate with withdrawal from engagement. Therefore, it consists a mechanism of firm which engagement partners provide the firm which relevant information which client engagement a person of firm promptly notify the firm circumstancing and relationship that creates a threat to independence. All branches and independents should be promptly notified to the firm to appropriate action. It is objective to ensure that the independence required is satisfied. At least annual, the firm should obtain a return confirmation and compliance with the policies and procedure to independent from all the level of personnel required to be independent in terms of accountable. SQC lays a specific special emphasis of financial threat, using the same senior personnel's assurance engagement of the prolonged period or impaired quality of performance of engagement. Therefore, the firm should establish criteria for determining the needs of safeguard to address these threats, determining the appropriate criteria form considered manner as nature of engagement, including extent in which involves some public interest, length of service of senior personnel engagement. Example safeguards include rotating of senior personnel to rotate and rotate and requiring engaging quality control. Familiarity threat is in particular relevant to the point of financial engagement audit of listed companies. For this audit, engaging partners should be rotated after the predefined period, normally not more than 7 years, except in case of audit of listed companies including sole proprietorship. However, ensuring the quality control exists in the firms and appropriate level of issues, these processes are mandatory the peer review such firms. So, MSP company auditor firms appoint bank to conduct a stock audit of it debuts one of the private chartered account employees. Sudarshan is conclude that it's in Sabo's audit, he leverages the opportunity to prevail upon the client to get the accounts audited from his firm. He also assures the client is clean stock audit report without adverse comments on the quite as quite record. So, improper action. Quality control system. Stock audit now The acceptance of the continuous of client relationship specific engagement. A firm before accepting engagement should acquire the vital information about the client. Such as mentioned should below help the firm to decide about integrity of client, promoting key managerial person, competent like capability, time, resources, perform engagement, compliance with ethical requirement. The firm should obtain about the information it considers necessary it comes before accepting engagement for the new client, which deciding whether the continuing with the existing client. When considering acceptance of new engagement with the existing client, where the issuance has been identified and the firm decides to accept the continuance of the client relationship and specific engagement, it should document how the issue has been resolved. With regard to the integrity of the client matter that the firm considered include, for example, identify the business reputation of the client, key business owners, key management, related parties, and the chart with the governance, and nature of client operation, including business practices. Information concerning attitudes of the client, principal owners, key managements, and those charged with the governance towards such matters, accuracy, implementation of accounting standards, and internal control technology. Whether the client is agrees to consider the maintenance of the firm's fees and low as possible. Indication of inappropriate limitations scope of indication of clients may be involved money laundering and other criminal activities. Reason of the proposed appointment of firms and non-reappointment of the previous firms. Extent of the knowledge firm should be regarded of integrity of the business, integrity of the client, which generally glows within the context of ongoing organization of this client. It is considered of the firm has the capabilities, competence, time, and resolution of undertaking the engagement following matters to be taken on the time. Firm personnel have knowledge of relevant industry subject matters. The firm person has experience of relevant regulatory or reporting requirement of the ability to gain necessary skill and acknowledge effectively. The firm has sufficient personnel in the necessary capability and competence. Experts and availability is needed. Individual needs criteria, eligible requirement for performing engagement quality control review, available and applicability. Firm should be able to complete the engagement with then reporting deadline. If there is a conflict of interest between the firm and client, it may be properly resolved through accepting engagement. The firm obtains information that would be cause a decline in engagement, and the information will be obtained earlier. The policies, procedures that is continuance and engagement of the client's relationship would be considered. The professional legal responsibility applies in the documents, either whether there is a requirement of the firm to report a person or a person who has made appointment, as the case may be regulated authorities. Regulatory authorities, regulatory REGU, LATO, REGU, LATO, and the possibility of withdrawing from the engagement of both from engagement and client relationship. The policies and procedures withdraw from the engagement from both of the engagement and clients partnership addresses issue in follow. Discuss the appropriate level of clients management and those charged with the governance regarding appropriate action that is a firm might take in the relevant action circumstances. If the firm decided it is appropriate to withdraw, discuss the applicable appropriate level of management those charged with governance withdraw from the engagement and both the engagement and the client relationship are reasonable for the problem. Consider whether the professional regulatory legal recommend of the firm to remain the place and the firm was reporting withdrawal from the engagement for both the engagement and the client relationship together with the reasonable withdrawal regulatory authorities. Documenting significant issues, consultation and conclusion based on the conclusion. He was introduced as a prospective client social function. He assured the visit the CAM every soon as a relation professional work. Discussion about the cup of coffee next week transcript that as a result of enforcement director in the firms after the month back resulting in recovery of huge sum of cash. The income tax authorities also search premises in relation to the bogus capital gains and penny stocks. The laminating poor quality of service provided by the present auditor. He offers appointment tax audit as a family-owned firms of EM in lieu of handsome fees. What is the factor of EM want to take up engagement? Human resources. The firm should establish policies, procedures designed to provide reasonable assurance and sufficient personnel of capability, competent, capable, commitment of ethical principle necessary to perform the engagement in accordance with professional standards and regulatory requirement and legal requirement and enable them to engage in partner to issue reporting that is appropriate to circumstances. Some policies and procedures would address relevant HR issues, including recruitment, compensation, training, career development, performance evaluation. There will be emphasis on the continuing professional development of firm personnel. The firm should assign responsibility of each engagement and non-engagement order. Firms should establish policy and procedure required. An identity of role of the engagement partners or communicate under key members and client management and to charge partners. Engagement partner has an appropriate capability and compensate authority in time being for the role. Responsibility of engagement partners clearly define and communicate the partner. Each engagement team should be able to carry out responsibility with necessary competence and skills. Therefore, the firm should ensure such suitable person was available, also groom them role. The firm should assess the performance and the partners and team member keep in the mind and the commitment towards quality. Engaging performance, consistency in the quality of engaging performance achieving through the briefing engagement teams, objective necessary for complying the engagement standards and processing of engagement supervision training, method of reviewing the performance of the work and appropriate documentation of the performance. Consultation of difficulty and continuous offers. The consultation takes place in difficult and contentious continuous manner pertaining to the engagement. Consultation include discussion on the appropriate professional level. The individual within and outside the firm who has specialized expertise to resolve the difficult or contentious matter. Contentious matter, contentious matter. It helps to promote the quality and improve the applicability of professional judgment. The consultation procedures require consultation which is have appropriate knowledge, seniority, and experience within the firms, outside the firm, and significant technical, ethical, and other matters, appropriate documentation and implementation and consultation, and resulting in consultation. The firm needed the consultant externally. For example, the firm without appropriate internal resources may take advantages of advisory services provided by other firms or professionals or regulated bodies. Complete and proper documentation should be maintained on the manner involves a result of consultation. Engagement quality control review. The significant judgment made in the engagement should be reviewed by the engagement quality control reviewer or taking an objective view before the report is issued. The extent of the review depends on the complexity of the engagement and risk of the report might not be appropriate in circumstances. The review does not reduce the responsibility of the engaging partner. Engaging quality control reviews mandate to all the audit on the financial statements, listed entities, and its result in the engagement. Firm should diverse criteria to maintain the cases required performance and engagement quality control review. Engagement quality control review of audit of financial statements of listed entities, including considering following: engagement team evaluation of the firm's independent of relation to specific engagement, a specific risk identified during the engagement and the response to risk, judgment made particular with respect of materiality and significant risk, whether appropriate consultation has been taken place in manner in difference in opinion, other difficulty in contentious matter, and conclusion arising of the consultation. And this significant and disposition of the corrected and corrected statement identifying during the engagement. The matter should be communicated to the management, those charged with the governance and applicable, and the parties should be regulated bodies. The working paper selected the review should be work performed in relation to the significant judgment and supporting inclusion reach. Appropriateness of the report should be issued. The engagement quality control review is a partner, other person of the firm who should be member of ICA, suitably qualified external person to note with the individual regarding the suitably qualified external person. So significant risk identified during engagement, judgment made to respect of whether the proper consultation has been taken place in the different opinion, other difficult continuous matters and conclusion arising from this consultation. Significant disposition, corrected and uncorrected misstatement identified to the partner matter to be communicated management. Okay. So in addition to the engagement quality control review or the auditing of the financial statement, listed entities and engagement is significant appropriate and experience authority factor in the audit engagement partner and audit of financial statement. This is necessary to maintain objective of review. Therefore, the particular in the engagement is engagement team is awarded outcomes. However, the engagement partner may consult on the engagement quality control review during the engagement so as to compromise the objective of eligible performance. Where the nature of the extent of consultation between significant, however, care taken by both the engagement party and reviewers maintain the review objectively. Where that is not possible, another individual within the firm, suitable qualified external person are appointed to be the role of the engagement quality control review or a person to be consultant engagement. The firm policy should be provide the replacement of the engagement quality review to the ability to perform the objective review may be impact. Difference in opinion. There may be a difference in opinion with the engagement team, which has been consultant between the engagement partner and engagement quality review. The report should only be issued after the resolution of the discourse. In the case of recommendation of engagement quality reviewer and the review is not accepted by the engagement partner, the matter is not resolved. Reviewer satisfaction. The matter should be resolved by following established procedure of the firm, like by the consulting with another part-time practicing firm or professional regulatory body. Engagement documentation. The firm should establish policies and procedure of engagement teams to complete the assembly of final engagement files timely basis after the engagement report has been finalized. Engagement file should be completed not more than 60 days after the date of audit report. In the case of audit engagement, in other cases within the time upload by the engagement 60 days. When the two or more different reports has been issued respective of the same subject matter information entity, the firm policies and procedure relating to the time limit of assembling the final engagement file should be considered under each report and it can be a separate engagement. It may be, for example, with a case where the firm issues an audit report on a competent financial information for approved financial purposes and a subsequent data auditor report on the same financial information for statutory purposes. The policies and procedures should be designed to maintain the confidentiality, safe custody, integrity, accessibility, retrievability, retrievability. In engaging documentation, care should be taken in the retrievable ITRI. Care should be taken in the policies and procedure to documentation, engaging quality control review should be review documentation that the procedure required by the firm's policies and engagement quality control review should be performed. And this engagement quality control review has been complete before the enforcement issue, and the review is not aware of the unresolved matter that would cause the reviewer to believe the significant judgment of the engagement team made and conclusion that it is not appropriate unless otherwise specified in the law and regulation. The engagement document is properly of the firm. The firm may be in the discretion DISCRETA discretion and which makes proportion extract from the engagement documentation available to the client provided the disclosure should not undermine the value of the work performed or in the case of assurance engagement independence of the firm's as person. Engagement documentation has to be retained by the period of time sufficient to permit those performance monitoring procedure to evaluate the firm compliance with the system to quality control as long as period is required within law and regulation. In the specific case, audit engagement retention of period normally is no shorter than 7 years from the date of the audit report or later the date of audit report. Monitoring. The firm should ensure policy and procedure relating to the system to quality controls are relevant and adequate operations effectively compliance are necessary. Such policy and procedure should be ongoing consideration evaluate the firm system quality control procedures, periodic inspection, selection of complete engagement, quality control engagement to be monitored towards accounts following factors. Decoding whether the quality control procedures of firm has been designed effectively. Examine whether the new development professional standards legal regulatory requirement has been reflected in the quality control procedure. Conducting monitoring, ensuring responsibility of monitor process to partner other person, sufficient appropriate exposure of the audited firm, dealing with the complaints of allegation against the firms and employees of non-completion of professional standards, appropriate regulation requirement of person with outside the firm, taking appropriate remedial action against a person who do not conform the quality procedures. Taking action of the deficiencies in design of operations of firm quality control process and procedures non-compliance of firm's operation and quality control identify. SA 220 quality of control of audit of financial statement based upon the quality control system of audit. The quality control policies pertaining to the audit engagement decide upon engagement team. The engagement partner of team is responsible for quality control procedures and particular audit engagement SA 220. Therefore, SA 220 is permitted in the basis of the firm SQC. Within the context of the firm system and quality control. The engagement team is responsible for implementing quality control and has applicability of audit engagement, providing the firms with relevant information enabling the functioning of the part of the firms and quality control relating to the independence. Engagement team is entitled to rely on the firm's control of quality control unless information provided by the firm's other parties suggestion the firm. SA 220 objective of auditor to implement quality control procedure at the engagement level that provides auditor to reasonable assurance that audit compliance with the professional standards and regulatory law requirement. Auditor report issued appropriate circumstances. SA 220 modeling in SQC 1 standard quality control 1 describes the responsibility of engaging partner in relation to the following manner: leadership responsibility of quality of control. relevant ethical requirement, accepting and continuance of clients, relationship auditing, engagement, assignment of engagement teams, engagement of performance and monitoring, leadership responsibility, quality of audit, leadership responsibility, quality of audit is to take responsibility in overall quality audit engagement, activities of engagement partners and appropriate messages to